Welcome to Electric Evolution with Liz Allan. This podcast is about the journey to a more sustainable future in order for us to be able to do our bit to achieve net zero. I'll be discussing a variety of topics with experts in their field in order to educate and increase our knowledge of clean energy, electric vehicles and the electric vehicle infrastructure. So whether you're an individual wanting to make a difference at home, a small business or a corporate, this podcast is just for you. Today on the podcast, I have got Lash Saranna, who is the co-founder and chief executive officer at EZoo, and you're based in Coventry, aren't you? Thank you ever so much for joining me, Lash.
Absolutely pleasure to join you on a Friday afternoon. It's a nice break from work. And yes, I am the CEO and co-founder of EZoo, based in Coventry.
And you have the T-shirt to prove it.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's brilliant.
A bit of branding.
Yeah. You've got to do it. I should have full circle T-shirts on as well. So yeah, but I'm not. So you were previous founder of Autobahn Porsche. I'd heard about this because you were interviewed by Roger Atkins recently, weren't you?
Correct.
And a co-founder of Forward Asset Finance. Now,
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got your fingers in quite a lot of pies, or you've had your fingers in quite a lot of pies. Tell me a bit of your background. How did you get to start EZoo up?
Right. So EZoo, how did that come about? There's a big story here, so I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. I must give you a little bit of background though. So the background is that 1985, I, along with my wife, formed Autobahn Porsche, so an independent Porsche outlet, and we grew that to be Europe's largest independent Porsche centre up to 2012. We were going great guns. We'd survived the financial crash of 2008, and to be honest, we were very comfortable. Business was good. We were very well established in the market after 28 years. Everything was rosy in the garden, as they say. Our then 12-year-old daughter going to school, we'd been to a parents' evening and the teachers saying, well, you've really got to look at your future and where you're going or where you want to go to, because when you make your choices for your GCSEs next year, what you've got to look at is, where do you want to end up at university? What do you want to study? What field do you want to go into? So we had all these sort of questions, and usual 12-year-old, every day would be a different day. I'd come home and she'd say, oh, Dad, I want to be a school teacher. Oh, yeah, great. That's a good idea. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. That's a fantastic idea. Oh, I want to go into the nursing profession. And so we were going, I was quite used to hearing a different I want to be today. And it was almost like, if you remember, stars in their eyes. Matthew, tonight I'm going to be. So we had that scenario for weeks on end. And one day I came home and Davina said to me, Dad, I've got it. I know what I want to be. And I said, what do you want to be then, Davina? And she says, I want to be sustainable. I want to be something that makes a difference in the world. I want to go to university and study global sustainability. I said, oh, really? I said, that sounds great. But I personally had zero idea of what she was on about, to be honest. I had no idea of what this meant. Anyway, go along with it. Great idea, Davina. Let's sort of look into this. Roll on a couple of months. She comes home and she says, oh, Dad, at Warwick University, there's this lecture going on. She couldn't get the words out of her mouth fast enough. I said, yeah. Let's just slow down. Let's sit down. So it transpires on the Saturday morning, there's going to be a sample lecture at Warwick University for a course they were going to run ahead in time 5 years later, or 6 years later, all about global sustainability. And I thought, okay, we'll go, no problem. So off we go to this lecture, and I thought, great, it's on a Saturday, so it doesn't interfere with my work. I can take it easy. We get into the lecture hall, and I was being the dutiful parent. I'm sure lots of parents have been in this position that I'm going to mention now. So I've taken my daughter, we've taken our daughter to the lecture. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, mobile phone, check what the guys are doing at work, and I'm just scrolling down, looking away. And to be honest, the lecture had started. I hadn't even noticed until the lecturer starts to go on about rising ocean levels, climate change, and air pollution, things that I'd never heard of before, or I had perhaps heard of them, but I was totally unaware of them.
Yes.
So this, I thought, oh my God, this sounds interesting. So I put the phone away in my pocket, and 3 hours have never passed so quick in my life. It was like a blink of an eyelid. I was just like, wow, I didn't know that. Really? Oh my God. How is this world falling apart around me, and I never even noticed it? So that perked up such an interest. I was like, Davina, you've got to find out more. So this led us to travel locally to Birmingham, to Glasgow, London, and the last sample lecture was at Southampton. And they were calling these sample lectures because none of these universities, no university in the UK had ever run a sustainability course before. And what they were doing was gauging student interest to calculate the commercial viability of the universities running the course.
Of course, yeah,
So
yeah.
on the way back from Southampton, this had taken a period of probably 4 or 5 months of going to different universities and different lectures. I was so engrossed. We were so engrossed. Chanjit and I. Chanjit is my wife and co-founder of, as I said, Autobahn Porsche. And then, as the story will unfold, you'll find out that she's involved in the business now as well. So, on the way back, we had a 2-hour journey from Southampton back to Coventry, and all the topic was about how we were going to go into work on Monday. We're not going to sell gas guzzling or diesel guzzling Porsche anymore. We're going to walk away from it. Didn't know what we were going to do, but we weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of how Electric Zoo started, or as it was Electric Zoo then. But to be honest, it was like a little something in the back of our minds that the future was going to be not what we'd been doing, but we didn't know quite what it was going to be. And we did proceed to go into work the following Monday, and we held this meeting with a team of 34 people, called them all together at like 10:30 in the morning. Said, guys, can we have a team meeting? Which was a bit unscheduled, because normally team meetings we had one a month to discuss basically what the performance was, what the targets were, and where we were going to go. And this was in the middle of the month, so it was totally unscheduled, and everybody sensed there was going to be trouble ahead. So the trouble started when I called the meeting and I said, look guys, I just want to say thank you very much for your efforts. We've been together for a long time. All the journeys in our sort of lives come to an end, and I think that it's time that me and Chanjit are going to call it a day. And like, there was just silence in the whole building. We're in the middle of the showroom. There wasn't a customer there. It was just, you could hear a pin drop. It was like an operating theatre.
I bet it was a shock.
All of a sudden, everybody's like looking at each other, and then they're whispering, "Have they gone mad? Have they been taking drugs? Are they on something? Are they not telling us everything?" And you could hear all these murmurings just whilst we're standing there. And we roll forward a few weeks, and to be honest, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. It was so awkward going to work, because everybody would be talking until you walk in, and then it'd stop and
tumbleweed.
Yeah, and this happened for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I said, look guys, we've got to get together. So the next scheduled meeting that we were going to have, I said, look, I want you all to know that we are not taking drugs, we are not hallucinating, we haven't lost the plot, it's not dementia or anything else. This is our thought process. And I gave them the little story about what happened with Davina, and I said, it's a genuine desire. We're not going to walk away from it tomorrow. It's not going to close down. What we'll do is we'll look at the options, but this is our view. So within a period of a year, we'd actually transitioned to the point that we actually gave the business away to our employees for nothing. And the last month, we actually worked there free of charge. Every penny that was earned there, whether it's through car sales or servicing or anything else, we gave it all to them. Didn't even take a penny.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
And that's what we did. We gave it to the team, and we walked out of there, I don't know, tears in our eyes. Certainly mine. I was headstrong but heavy heart.
Yes.
almost to the point like, what am I doing? I've walked away from everything we've built up in a lifetime. Am I being foolish? Am I being stupid, or am I being brave? And what is the future going to hold? Because we had a very comfortable living. We didn't need to do this, you know. So, but then that's where the story of EZoo begins, because we walked away. We took a couple of months, 3 months out. What are we going to do? We travelled a little bit around Europe, went further afield to States and things, had a look around, just saw what was going on, read a lot, tried to define what was happening in the world. And the only world we knew was the automotive world, because that was a world of work that we'd spent our lifetime in. And the one thing that kept coming back was electric cars. And at the time, all the press used to be about Tesla. It was Tesla, 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 how Elon Musk's going to, you know, change the world, how electric cars are going to change the world. And then the opposite view was the OEMs basically saying, well, you know, the guy's never going to make it. He's just a no-hoper. It's all a passing fad. So this was going on, and we seriously sat down and thought, we're never going to do the retail business again. We are going to stay in the automotive world, and we believed electric cars were going to be the future.
Yeah. Because
of everything that we'd heard, that we'd read, and we'd gone to a lot of lectures, even university stuff in London. I remember seeing Professor Colin Heron from Newcastle. He did a lecture at London University that we went to see, and I spoke to him afterwards, and that was the first time I spoke to him, and it was like he was absolutely adamant electric cars were going to be the way. And we found out about battery development through a lot of his lectures, actually. And then the more we sort of read, the more we saw, the more we heard, the more we believed that was going to be the movement. And the final defining part was that, reading through all of this, I'd read in the Sunday Times that Elon Musk was going to launch a new Tesla 7-seater car with gull-wing doors. And I was like, wow, that sounds really exciting. Yeah, this is like Back to the Future type of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that's really good. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to Birmingham today. As it so happened, or the next day, I read it on the Sunday. I thought, I'm going to Birmingham on the Monday. I'll go and see where the Tesla store is. So I hunted out the Tesla store, went in, and I said, I've read about this car that Tesla are going to launch. It's called the Model X, and I want to leave a deposit. So this is 2013 by this time, right? So we'd moved on a year from when we'd departed from the showroom, and we've gone on 2013. I read this, and the chap at the Tesla store says, no, he says, we haven't got a Model X. He says, you mean the Model S? I said, no, Model X as an X-ray. No, he says, no, we don't have one. I said, I know you don't have one, but you're going to have one, so I'd like to leave a deposit. He refused to take my money. He said, no,
God.
That can't happen. He says, I can't take money for a car we don't build. Anyway, I said, look, you know what, sorry, I'm not going to waste your time. What I'll do is I'll get this newspaper article and I'll bring it to you one day. So a few days passed by. I think it was a couple of weeks, to be honest. So I went back in, and I've got the Sunday Times with me, and I saw the same guy, and I said, oh, I came in, he says, yeah, I remember. I said, here's the article. So he sat there, he read all the articles, and he said, oh. He said, nobody's told us about it. I said, well, can you do me a favour? He said, what's that? I said, if I give you £1,000, will you give me a receipt to say that it's against this car? If they ever produce it, I'll get one, and if they don't produce it, I've got conclusive proof. You got my £1,000, you give it me back. And he said, yeah. He said, I can do that. So swiped my credit card, gave him the receipt, away I go. And to be honest, I thought nothing more of that particular order. We carried on investigating how we were going to do it, what we were going to do, and everybody we started talking to about electric cars, most people would just like look at you, gone out, and think, no, mate. He says, I'm all right with my diesel. No, and they just turn around and start talking to somebody else.
Oh no!
You get maintain a conversation, literally midway through a conversation, people would cut you dead and start talking to somebody else. And this was happening more and more regular as we were talking. And then we were trying to think, how would you convince somebody if they're not doing it by conversation? How would you do it? And bearing in mind, you've got the Renault Zoe, the old school Renault Zoe, the old model, and then you'd got the Citroen / Peugeot Ion, I think it is. There was only like 2 or 3 cars in the Model S, and I thought, you know what? If I had a car, obviously being from a car background, one of the biggest ways of getting a customer physically into a car is for them to drive the car. Take them out in the car and you say, you know what, you drive it. And that would always be the convincing point, especially with all the Porsche that we ever sold, that you only needed to get somebody behind a wheel for literally half an hour and they were like, I got to have this car.
I bet. Yeah.
I'd come from a background with Porsche where once a customer has owned a Porsche, right, the high probability, 7 times out of 10 or 7 customers out of 10 will always return to that brand again. Right? So I was a firm believer that if I could get somebody into an electric car to drive it, they would have one, or 7 people out of 10 would have one, because I was using the same ratios, rightly or wrongly. So we thought of this concept, changed it, and I said, you know what, if we had a showroom, no, if we had a experience centre, no, it'd be innovation. If we had something, because we're innovators, and that's what we're going to do, we're going to innovate, we're going to take people, we're going to transition them, and we're thinking of all these names. What do we call it? Transition centre, experience centre, innovation centre, innovators. What would we call this? We're thinking of all these names, and I started to talk to Coventry City Council. I said, look, I've got this concept, because obviously Coventry is the motor city of the UK.
Yeah.
Spoke to them, and the train station was going to go under a development. And I said, look, what if we could put a showroom outside the train station, which just coincidentally happened to be outside the brand new council house, if you like, the old council house where all the workers go in, but they built a brand new one for the city workers. And I thought, people coming out the train station could, and I was visualising this, they walk through a time tunnel where they start off with the Frederick Lanchester producing the first electric car, first hybrid electric car in Coventry, right? And then they transition through the Jaguar era, through the Triumph, through the MG, all the cars that are built in Coventry, literally flashing on images on the tunnel, and you come out and you face today's brand new electric car centre that they could go into, a bit like a museum, but a modern museum where you could see, feel, touch, get information, and then the final selling part would be, would you like to drive one for a month? Right? Take it home and live with it. And we came up with all these concepts. So I've got some of the drawings and the way I'd visualised this. And I thought, if you could do that, then the customer could either bring it back or keep it. And we're coming up with, and the word subscription wasn't quite there then.
No.
We kept thinking of transition centre, transit centre, time tunnel, and we were coming up with all these concepts around that, but not the word subscription. This took the next 2 years to work this out, and then 2 things happened coincidentally or virtually on par at the same time. One, Tesla emailed me, said, your new car's arriving, we need the rest of the money. Right? This is October 2015.
Is it? Oh my god.
And I get an email. Oh, okay, I didn't expect that. I said, when will it be with you? They said, oh, the ship's landing October, in 4 weeks or whatever. We'll have the car at the beginning of December. I said, okay, great. That sounds fantastic. I'll come and see it. So to go with that, we'd gone through all of this planning of what do you call this place? Where can it be? And Coventry City Council would be liaising with them. We'd done renders. So we'd come up with this design for the showroom to be built out of recycled shipping containers, right? I'd got a company in Sheffield that actually produced all of the drawings and they actually do the work. So recycled shipping containers. I'd spoken to Johnny Berry. You mentioned Johnny. He was working for Renault. I said to him, Johnny, I've got this concept of building this showroom with cars in, or with recycled shipping containers, recycled glass, recycled wood, and fake grass outside, artificial grass, right? And he says, oh wow, that's cool, Lash. He says, I said, I need some help with it. He said, I can't give you any financial help. He said, what I can do is I could convince Renault to hold their dealer meetings there, so you get an income off us renting the conference room off you. And I thought, yeah, that's good. If I could get an income off him, and then spoke to a few other players, and they were saying, actually, we could use it once a month. And I was thinking, if we could let this out for 4 weeks constantly, we'd get enough money for the rental income to drive us having the experience centre there. So I got part of this concept, going back to the Tesla at the same time. I rock up to Birmingham Tesla, Solihull, and the car's there. Wow, this thing was like a house on wheels. It was compared to any other car at the time, it was futuristic, to say the least.
Right, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, these two gull wing doors open up. You can do it all on the key. You can sit inside there, open all the doors, close all the doors. You could get any part of that car to move up, down on the air suspension. It was doing so many things. It was incredible. It was mind-boggling. So I said, okay, I want delivery of this car, but then the motor trader part of me came out. I said, I don't want to take it until January the 1st. She said, why is that? I said, well, if it's registered next year, it'll be worth more money rather than registered 2015 in December. So the lady agreed. She said, okay. She said, that's no problem. She said, we can do all the invoicing, we'll get everything, and you can pick it up on January the 3rd. So great. January the 3rd, 2016 comes along. Fantastic, go and pick the car up. I drive this thing back, and it is just unbelievable. You've got a 2.5 ton car. To put this into perspective, it's the same weight as a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow, which is a heavy car, very heavy car.
Right.
Only thing is, this Tesla Model X is quicker than a 911 Turbo that I used to drive day in, day out. So that I drove precisely 22 miles from the dealer to home. I was absolutely amazed. I was in awe of this car. I got home and I didn't want to actually get out of it.
Were you besotted?
I just wanted to stay in it. And then it was just unbelievable. I drove it around for the next couple of weeks, and I did this Jeremy Clarkson video, which I'd never done before with any cars, even all the days of the showroom and everything. I walked around with it. I said to somebody, can you take my phone? Can you film me talking and walking around this car? And they thought I lost the bottle again. So we did that, and I've still got it to this day. It's just how this car operates and all the fantastic features it had, which was so unusual at 2016. That was the bright spark, and that was the upside. The downside was Coventry City Council emailed me literally the same time I was picking the Tesla up to say the vision that I've portrayed to them is not the vision they want to see for the gateway to Coventry from the train station.
Oh.
And I thought, so that
nightmare.
That really, on one side I was so high, literally on adrenaline with driving this Tesla and everything about it, and this had just cemented all my belief in what we were going to do with electric cars, to be absolutely flattened and have the wind taken out of my sails, our sails. It was like, wow, I just spent 2.5 years or 2 years doing this. Now it's back to the drawing board. Where did we go? Fortunately, we didn't let that get us down, because we still believed in what we were doing. Then, amazingly, the word subscription entered into it. We're having a conversation at home, and our son is at university, and we were just talking away, and he's on about how his friend has just subscribed to Amazon for toilet rolls.
Yeah, I've done that.
I said, how does that work then? And he says, oh, this is what you do. And he says, then because it's on subscription, your toilet roll runs out and you get a new.
Yeah,
thought, wow.
that's how it works.
And I said, how often does this happen then? And he said, well, you pay monthly. Because this was a new thing, Amazon. You know, life has changed so much in the last 10 years. But I sat there thinking about that and I thought, that if we're changing the car a month, this guy's changing his toilet roll every month. He's subscribing to it. And Chanji and I looked at each other at the same time and thought, subscribe. We've got the same word at the same time. Yeah. That's what we do. We offer the cars on subscription. So literally next morning, rush out, we get this roller banner made up because we're doing a little breakfast meeting. And I thought, oh, subscription, that's what we've got to do. That's the way. And I've still got that banner, which I found, oddly enough, last year we were going to another event and I was looking for some other stuff. And we've got one storage shed, if you like, with all the bits in for the exhibitions. And we'd gone to London actually, to the Excel Centre, and I'd taken the wrong banner. I pulled this banner up, and it's from 2016, the original subscription banner. I thought, oh, wow. Right, I'm glad I found that. So we came up with subscription, and then the next element was insurance. We were missing insurance because the insurance world is archaic in the UK. If you ask an insurance company, say, and this is our ask, I want to take out insurance on a car so I can drive it, any other person outside of my family can drive it, my friends can drive it, and some people I know in Glasgow and in Exeter and in Wales can drive it. Not all at the same time, but I want them to have the ability to drive it. And the answer was no. Every time I went to an insurance company, no. Different age, different gender, different demographics, different experience. You know, how can these people all be the same? Different risk. But they are, because only one person can drive it, and they can only drive it in one place. And if they've all got a driving license, they're competent enough to drive a car. So what's the difference? And we spent 4 years doing this, trekking around every single insurance company from Glasgow to London on a regular basis. We must have visited every single insurance office here. We've been to what is now LVE, Allianz, Zurich, you can name all the others, all the household names that we know. We've seen them all, spoken to them all, and it took a hell of a long time to get that done. But what's happened then was 2018 we actually incorporated Electric Zoo. January the 10th 2018, we'd done enough homework, enough research, enough belief and enough, should we say, judgment in our own skill set to know that this was going to happen. Right. We were going to make it happen. So we incorporated the company. It took us another 2 years until July 2020, lockdown, middle of lockdown, to go to market. And that in itself was another story. So literally the Monday of the lockdown, we're at home, not going to work. What do we do? The world's in turmoil. Everybody thinks, you know, we had the same thoughts as you and everyone else. Where do we go from here? What is going to happen tomorrow? Is there going to be a tomorrow? And again, a bit of self-belief really. We've got an outbuilding, and I walked into the outbuilding and says, you know, fortunately we were working in Birmingham, and we used to travel to Birmingham 1.5 hours every morning, 1.5 hours every afternoon, and you don't realise it when you're in it that you're doing it. It wasn't until COVID until lockdown, on the Monday we didn't have the travelling to do. So I went into the office that I'd built and I said, what do we do now? And I sort of looked in my top drawer and I've got all these business cards, hundreds of them, and I laid them all out on the floor one by one. We've got 316 cards laid out. And I was thinking, I've just got a bin next to me. Thought, bin, need, bin, need, bin, need. And we'd whittled it down to about 60 cards. From the 60, I said, right, anything to do with insurance we're going to keep, everything else is going away. And we got it down to about 22, I think, or 23. 23 cards. I emailed every single person. Oh, do you remember we spoke about this? We spoke about that. Insurance. One lady contacted me. She says, "Oh, hi, Lash. Great to hear from you." She says, "Oh, I'm in France." And I says, "Oh, right, okay. Have you moved there?" She says, "No." So my husband is French, but because of lockdown, I got out just in time, and we're going to be in France. I said, "Great." I said, "Are you still in the insurance world?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "I'm still looking for the same thing." And she says, "You know what? I think I might be able to help you." I thought, wow. I said, "Okay." She said, "Let me call you tomorrow." Well, I tell you what, against all belief, she rang 10 o'clock next day. She says, "I think I've got it for you. We can do the insurance." Oh, God sent. It took us another sort of 3 months, but July 2020 we went to market with 3 cars. Today we have 160 cars on the fleet. We've got 40 that are arriving in the next couple of months. That'll be 200. But the plans for the future are really big now, because we're going through our Series A fundraise. We've got a plan for 1,000 cars by the end of this year, and a lot more in the years to come. And we've really gained some traction. We've got team members, so there are 12 of us, going on to 16 any day soon. We've got a Glasgow hub in Coventry. The train station still plays a major part in our lives, and will do as we go forward, because we're now in the midst of signing the legals for our new headquarters to be there, which will allow us to grow at least a team of 50 plus in that place. So it's a big place.
So that came back then? That's
well,
what you were saying.
It came about in a different way, because the world has changed with COVID and lockdown.
Yes.
And the world and the people within the world see life differently. And now electric cars are deemed to be good news and saviours, not a pain in the backside in the way of petrol and diesel. So, So because of that, we've rekindled all our relationships with Coventry City Council, and they've rekindled their relationships with us. They're more than happy to have us based in the station, and at the station we will be in the middle of a sustainable transport hub. We will offer the electric cars. There's the Boris style electric bikes. There's micro mobility, the little electric scooters.
Yeah.
You've got the bus terminal on one side with a tunnel leading into the train station. You've got the trains there. You've got the taxis. You've got the Ubers. A complete mix of every form of transport mode that you can think of in one place.
That's brilliant.
And you can, of course, walk as well. So,
of course, if you choose.
Yeah.
If you choose.
Yeah. So
that's brilliant.
It's all happening. It's all happening. And
what a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
What an absolute story. That's an amazing story, Lash. I mean, so can you explain? So right, okay. So we're talking a car subscription being the same as my Amazon toilet. Now I don't get toilet roll from Amazon anymore, but I do get subscription toilet roll from Cheeky Panda.
Yeah.
Other brands are acceptable, by the way. So how for somebody like me? So okay, you kind of broke the mold when I had never heard of car subscriptions at all. So when I kind of saw your business at the EV show last year, I was kind of a bit taken aback, really, because I just heard leasing. You know, leasing's the way to go. But for me, so I don't know whether you know much about what my journey is, but part of the reason for this podcast is because I, as a business owner, would like an electric car. So we haven't got electric. We've got a petrol guzzler, you know. So we've got a Golf, and for me, I'm married to a professor of climate science. He'd prefer to walk, like you saying about the walking. He'd prefer to walk, but for the job that I do, I need to be driving. and it just feels wrong. It's not the right thing, you know. But because of the fact that I've taken some EVs out for test drive over the last couple of months because I had no frame of reference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, the idea of a subscription was just kind of a bit of an epiphany, really, because I just thought. So I've actually, you know, kind of said to my husband, this is the other reason why I wanted to get you on here as well, because I think people who don't know about car subscriptions, it's a fantastic idea. I've kind of said, you know, subscription might be a good idea for us because I would like to experience. I've got my eye on one specific model. I'd like to experience it, but because I've got no frame of reference, you know, it's a place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So with the subscription model, that allows for every use case and every type of requirement. With our business model, you can simply go to our platform. We've got 18 odd different models. You choose the model that fits your requirements, or you think fits your requirements. You populate your details, a picture of your driver's license either side, a selfie, bank details, and you're done. That should take you 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how how quick you can, type or use your phone. Once you've done that, we get your details back end. We don't credit search you. All we do is an affordability check. Can you afford 1 month's advance rental on the car and a damage waiver of £500? If you can afford to do that and pay us £120 admin fee, the admin fee is an admin fee, it's gone. The damage waiver, as long as you bring that car back in the same condition as you get it, you get your money back. Right. So the only thing that you will be out of pocket for is 1 month's advance rental, which is for the use of the car. That's your only affordability. The difference between our service and a lease, for example, subscription and lease, is with a lease, you need a hefty deposit up front.
Yes.
You need to commit yourself to 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
There's no getting out, as a lot of people found out in the midst of lockdown. Once you're in it, you're in it. Whether the car's on your drive or not, right? Yeah. You will pay. That versus the traditional method of buying a car. Once upon a time, to own your own car was a status symbol. You had arrived in life if you'd have purchased your own car. That was a status symbol. And then we had mechanisms of finance come along. So it's finance a car, finance a car beyond what you can afford, because it's only on a monthly payment. The manufacturers then decided to cut, dice and splice that model into various things called leasing, PCP, so personal contract purchase, business contract hire, and any other term you want to give it. But it's all financing of a motor car.
Yes.
And it's how easy the manufacturers believe, they can get you into the car. With our model, you will never own the car. You will have the sole use of it for the period of 1 month minimum. You can opt to go for 3 months at a lower price because you're giving us 90 days commitment.
Yes.
But alternatively, the biggest commitment you make is 30 days. That offers you total flexibility. Now you could, if you so wished, and we've had some customers do this, take a Renault Zoe. Well, actually, this particular customer, I'll give you an example, local customer, he subscribed to an E-Up, Volkswagen E-Up, then he went to the Renault Zoe, then he went to a Nissan Leaf, then he went to a Honda Kona, and then a Kia e-Niro. And he was still planning to go on to the Tesla and various other cars, but when he got to the Niro, he said, that's the one I want. I found it. He said, I'm going to go and order it. So he actually rang me whilst he's in the Kia dealer, and he says, Lash, I'm about to order this car, so I'm still going to subscribe to yours because they're telling me it's 9 months before I get this. I said, okay. He said, I'm just letting you know. I said, fine. No problems, Nick. I know the guy well. And he drove the Niro then for 9 months. This is after 4 other cars. So he'd had the car for 4 months, or 4 different cars. Fifth month was a Nero, then 9 months in the Nero, to eventually owning his own car, right? Because that worked for him. Now we have other customers who come in and just take it for 3 months outright. But overall, the average lifetime that a customer spends with us is 12 months. That's what we've found in our short company life so far, right? That's 12 months on average a customer stays. Some of those customers stay longer, some of those customers stay shorter, but the flexibility is what they all come in for, because the biggest tie-in they've got is 30 days. And one thing's for sure, we're living in uncertain times, and the only thing for sure in uncertain times is uncertainty.
Yes, very
and
true.
That's why people just want to, I can see for 30 days, or I can even see for 3 months. But beyond that, my circumstances may change.
Absolutely. Things
Right?
change. Like you
That's
say, they
why
are changes.
our model works well. And the other reason it works well is electric cars have been around for a number of years now. COVID has made them really popular. The government has made them really popular with the benefit in kind of only being 2%, right? There's various other reasons for, obviously, environmental, the fact they're emission free. 32 local authorities around the UK are getting clean air zones. London is expanding the clean air zone, and all of the right reasons that we want to all do our little bit, play our part in saving the planet for future generations. If everybody does a little bit, it's a lot. Right? It becomes a lot. So for all of these reasons and more, I think electric cars and our electric car subscription model works really well for people. And that's why we're growing at the rate of knots.
It's brilliant. So all the people that are subscribing then, are they individuals, or are they work? Can it be done through salary sacrifice? How would it work?
So there's 3 things there. One, we started off with a B2C, so appealing to the individual consumer. From that, we've had great demand for B2B, and as of January this year, so a month ago, we now offer a B2B service where a company can subscribe, and as a company we check their affordability and say to them, okay, you're good for 6 cars, right? Affordability wise, they can then choose which car to onboard, how many drivers per car they want to onboard, because multiple drivers, and they have the flexibility to offboard drivers, offboard the vehicles, and basically flex our service as they flex their business. If it grows and they're doing well, they take more. If they need to, for whatever reason, just batten down the hatches a little bit, they can just bring back 1 car, 2 car, whatever, as per they need.
So it does sound a really flexible model then.
And then on salary sacrifice, that's what we're entering into now. So salary sacrifice, again, is a very good concept for allowing people, should we say, a very expensive electric car at very, very reasonable money. It's a way of saving money, because they are sacrificing their salary at the point of source before they get paid. So effectively, that money is taken out of your wages. But the government say thank you for that, and they actually discount the car that you're going to have. So with that has been, up until recently, that has been a tie-in for 3, 4, 5 years. Yes. But because we offer subscription, as long as a customer subscribes for a minimum of 12 months, so 1 full tax year effectively, because then the tax savings on the car can be calculated against the salary, right? Okay. So it has to be a minimum of 12 months, but salary sacrifice for subscription cars is available.
Crikey.
Yeah.
This is brilliant, honestly. So
we try to break it down. We try to break it down into bite-sized pieces to help understand, because it can be a bit mind-boggling.
It is amazing. So what is included in your subscriptions then?
Right, so we've got the electric car, we've got the insurance, the maintenance, the road tax. The only thing that a consumer or a business has to do is to charge it and drive it, and at the end of the contract, either roll the contract or hand it back. Could not be easier or simpler.
It does sound too. So, were you the first car subscription company then?
I'd love to say yes, but in all honesty, no.
Okay. But you had the idea first, of course.
Whilst we were going through the concept of how we could do this, there's a company called EZoo, Rob Jolly, whom I know very well. They are our nearest and our dearest rivals. They're 8 miles up the road. They're local.
Okay.
But we have a really, really good relationship. I want to thank them for all that they've done in paving the way, because those guys are like a beacon in this industry. They shine the torch for us from far afield, and the awareness factor they bring to the game is fantastic. They are, or they were the first, they are the market leaders, and I take my hat off to that. We, as much as our rivals, we're friends. We have a friendly banter, we have a good laugh every now and then when we meet, and we share market statistics and facts and figures. But yeah, they were the first, only because we were at a conference in Warwick, at Warwick University, and both Rob and I were there, and this is 2016, I think it was,
Right.
and the conference was called Future Mobility. That's how far electric cars were ahead. It was called Future Mobility, and it had all the movers and shakers from the insurance industry attend. From our point of view, unfortunately, one of the insurance companies decided to trial with them first.
Right.
And by the time we'd spoken to them in the same room, they actually said, look, we'll meet up with you, but we've already agreed with another company that we'll trial. And it's fairly easy to know which company it was because there's only 2 of us in the room. So, but they got a real kickstart from that, and the rest is history, as they say. That yes, they are in the market, we are in the market, and there are 2 other companies in the UK. So if you consider there are 35 odd million cars on the road in the UK, right? Electric cars is in its infancy. Subscription is a minute player in the whole industry. There's a whole long way to go. As I say, the cake is big enough for everyone to have a lot of it.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm going to be one of those who'll be eating that piece of cake fairly soon as well, I think.
I hope so. So we'd love to serve it to you.
Oh my God, yes please. Yes please. That'd be fabulous. Now, I know we've only just scratched the surface. Okay.
Yeah.
So we did say at the beginning there's probably going to be a version 2 of this, isn't there?
Part 2. Give it a few months. Let us move into our new premises, and by that time I think the team will have developed much bigger than what it is today. Our service will have developed, and I believe the subscription element within the motor industry and within the UK will have developed a lot stronger. So yeah, let's have part 2.
It'll be, I can see this is just going to go from strength to strength, isn't it? So, okay, so let everybody know what the website address is, if you will.
Yeah, certainly. It's EZoo, that's EZOO dot
like on his t-shirt
.uk.
And where's the best place to get hold of you if anybody wants to talk to you specifically?
My details are on the website, but you can look at LinkedIn. The EZoo is on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Just search Lash Saranna or EZoo. You'll find either of us, both of us, probably in the same place.
Oh well, listen, it's been an absolute joy talking to you. My God, you totally opened my eyes up to all of this. Absolutely
I'm sorry we've run out of time. I know you gave me a time limit, but I did say to you I need to just explain in detail.
No, I said it was fine. Don't worry about it. But like I say, that's why I need to get you on here again. But look, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and just say thank you, Lash. It's been a real joy talking to you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see you in front of Coventry Station in that hub. It'll just be fantastic. So I hope you're going to do a big opening, and I hope I get an invite there.
We will make some plans. We'll make some plans and keep you informed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, thank you ever so much for your time. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody else. See you next time. Cheers,
okay.
Bye. You've been watching Electric Evolution with Liz Allan. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon, and you'll receive all of our weekly videos. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.